Good afternoon, Aditi. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Mm, Hope your Sunday is going good. Sushil, stop presenting. Don't present. Let's see how many are coming. What about other classes? You all were doing? Mm, You were there?
Ye- Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this time on Sunday, Saturday also we are studying. That's good, actually. So let's wait for 1, 2 more minutes and then maybe I can start. Do you have a class after this also?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay,
Max class.
okay. Wait for 2, 3. I'll start. My voice is audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mamun, he was here now. Yeah. How's your
Yes, ma'am.
mother?
I'm fine.
Still in the hospital?
नो मैम अब घर पे है.
अच्छा, then it's okay. Okay. So, let's start, right? That would be better now. Those who want to come, they can come.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
there is one message from Shahab. He told me
Yeah, I saw
that
it. I saw it.
okay.
No issues. If suppose he is not well, then what we can do, right? ये कैसे जाएगा? Sometimes I wait. Hmm. Okay. So is my screen visible? Is
Yes,
my
ma'am.
screen
Yes,
visible?
ma'am.
Okay. So this is again um continuation of that real gas which we were studying yesterday, and I have uploaded this notes also in the LMS, so not to worry. So let's see who else has come. Anvesha. Okay.
Ma'am,
So,
magnify it little, please.
wait, I'm doing it. Okay, is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. अरे ये क्या रहा? So now, so yesterday we were studying about real gases and ideal gases, and so we found out that there were two assumptions. There are a lot of assumptions from kinetic theory of gases that were made. However, there were few. If you remember, there are few assumptions which do not hold correct in case of real gases, while others hold correct in, I mean, all other assumptions of kinetic theory of gases hold true for both real gases as well as ideal gases. Okay, so let me check. Okay, where I was. Hmm. So now, just what I wanted to say that now in case of ideal gas, we know that this is our formula. An ideal gas should fulfill this formula. PV is equal to nRT, where P is the pressure, V is the volume, N is the number of moles, R is the gas constant, and T is the temperature. Now, actually, what is the volume of gas? What is the volume of the gas that is actually taken? So ideally, we assume that volume of gas is the available space in which the molecules of gas can move freely. Actually, that is the volume of the gas which we consider. That is the volume of the gas that we consider. That the available space in which the gas molecules can freely move. Now, in case of ideal gas, we have assumed that the molecules are point masses and their volume is negligible. So suppose there is a container and these are gas molecules, these point dots, and so they occupy the volume. We take this. Now, actually, what happens? What we say? We say that the volume of the gas is the volume of the container. volume of the container, right? So that is what the volume of the gas we take into account. So that is the available space in which the gas molecule is free to move. However, in case of ideal gas, what actually happens is they are point masses, so they are actually concentrated very somewhere near, like actual volume of the gas molecules is very negligible. Remember, this is the kinetic theory of the uh, gases assumption. We tell that the actual volume of the gas is very less. My screen is visible now. Yeah. So we say that the actual volume of gas is very less as compared to the total volume of gas. So in case of the ideal gas, since they are made up of point masses, this is suppose this is a small area, very negligible area, which is the actual volume of your ideal gas. And so this the entire container, they have this entire container free at their disposal. So they can move in this the entire container. Now, what happens that since this volume is very negligible, now actually what was the definition of volume of the gas? That is the available space in which the molecules can move, right? So since these molecules are occupying this much volume, a very small volume, actual volume of these molecules is very small. So the total volume of the gas will be total volume of container minus this much small volume. This small volume where the gas molecules are actually concentrated. But since this volume is so negligible, so what happens in case of ideal gas, we consider that we neglect this volume because we consider that this is the volume of the gas is the entire volume of the container, but actually the volume of the gas should be the volume of the container minus the volume of the actual molecules. But in case of ideal gas, since it is considered that they are made up of point masses, which do not have appreciable volume, so this is a negligible volume. So suppose if you subtract zero point 0.1 from 100, suppose if you subtract 0.1 from 100, right? So this is it is very 0.1 is very negligible in compared to 100. So in that case, we assume that 99.9 means 100. So similar is the case in case of ideal gas, since the molecules are made up of they're assumed to be made up of point masses, so their original volume is very less. So their volume is considered to be negligible, and they are neglected. And so we take the total volume of the gas is the volume of container. But in real gases, actually what happens? In real gases, the molecules are rigid spheres. In real gases, the molecules are rigid spheres like this. So same concept when we open a cylinder of any real gas inside a room or inside a container. So since these molecules of real gases are rigid spheres, so they will occupy an appreciable volume. And in that case, we cannot say that the volume of the real gases, the volume of the molecules of the real gases, actual volume of the real gas molecule is negligible. So we will now suppose this much volume it is taking. So now it is having only this much space to move. In this case, it was taking only this much volume. So there's almost the entire space to move. So in case of real gases, it is having an appreciable volume. So in the case of real gases, the subtraction of the volume of the actual molecules from the total volume of container is required. Why? Because that will give the total volume of gas, which is defined as the available space in which molecules can freely move. You're understanding what I'm saying? So in case of real gas, the volume of the molecules needs to be subtracted, right? So that is one thing. Second thing was that in case of ideal gas, we assume that there is no force of attraction. Why? Because they are point masses, so they don't have a force of attraction. But in real gases, since they are made up of rigid spheres, we cannot say that, right? In real gases, there is a force of attraction, and so force of attraction affects directly what? What is pressure? Pressure is defined as force per unit area, right? So if there is a force of attraction, that is present, so it will directly affect the pressure in case of the real gases. So the real gas equation, now the ideal gas equation actually requires two correction. It is not real gas equation. It should be ideal gas equation that requires two correction, basically more clearly, to get to form a real gas. So what was it? One is volume correction and other is pressure correction. And why is the volume correction? Because the real gas molecules are not point masses, but they are rigid spheres, and there they have a volume that needs to be subtracted from the total volume of the container, unlike the ideal gas, where the total volume of the gas was considered to be negligible. And the second is pressure correction. Why does this arise? Because since the real gas molecules are made up of rigid spheres, they have a force of attraction, and then if the force of attraction is there, so it will directly affect the pressure. Why? Because force is given by pressure, sorry, pressure is given by force per unit area. So in this case, real gas, to obtain a real gas, pressure correction has also to be incorporated in the ideal gas equation. Understood this much?
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, can you show the above page, ma'am?
Okay. So, don't worry, Aritra. This note is I have uploaded it in LMS.
No, ma'am, I know, ma'am. I am taking some part, ma'am.
Okay, you have to ask anything.
Ma'am, a little bit down, ma'am. Ma'am, means in real gases and ideal gases, ma'am, means used told to study the differences, ma'am. Means, ma'am, I am saying, ma'am, it will come in means brief or means in small, ma'am. Means if the description comes about their characteristics.
I don't know actually, Aritra. I have not yet made the question paper, but as I told previously also, that even the descriptive answers won't be very big. Even the descriptive answers won't be very big. And then I will try. If suppose I give one 5 marks question, if suppose I give one 5 marks question, so I will give another 2 marks or 3 marks question, like 3 questions only. And if I give 2 marks questions, so I will give 5 2 marks questions. So you write as per the marks is there. I mean, no need to write Granth. Okay, write as per marks is there. Clear?
Okay.
So, okay. So now these two things, okay, and there won't be any derivations. I am just talking so that you understand the concept. It will be useful. Okay. So now this was there were a lot of corrections, pressure corrections and volume corrections, and lot of different variants of real gas equations that were given by different scientists. However, the first, foremost, and one which is most widely used and which is in our syllabus is the van der Waals real gas equation. So he gave this equation: P plus AN square by V square, V minus NV is equal to nRT, right? So P is again the pressure, N is number of moles, V is volume, N is number of moles. A and B are constants, which are known as van der Waals constants, and R is gas constant and T is temperature. Now the thing is that this AN square by V square, this AN square by V square is known as pressure correction. This is the pressure correction. Suppose if you remove this term and you remove this term, so what will you get? You will get PV is equal to nRT, right? So that will be your ideal gas equation. So, and since this is added into pressure, like this modifies the pressure, so this is the pressure correction, and this modifies the volume. This is known as the volume correction. So pressure correction, always remember, is, I will explain how, is due to the force of attraction between gas molecules, and the volume correction is due to the volume of the gas molecules or the size of the gas molecules. Now the next topic which we'll study is what is volume correction and constant V. Volume correction and constant V. So this I explained earlier, right? That ideal gas is point masses. So the volume of gas in this case will be entire volume of the container, because the volume of the actual molecules is taken to be negligible. Whereas in case of real gases, the volume of gas is not equal to the volume of container, because we cannot say in case of real gases that these rigid spheres do not have a volume. That means in case of real gases, the gas molecules have a volume. So now the actual volume of the gas, focus on the real gas, will be what? The volume of the container minus the volume of these rigid molecules. Actual volume of the gas is volume of the container minus the volume of the gas or the molecules, right? So Vg is the volume of the real gas, V is the total volume of the container, and minus B. Now B is taken as a constant, and it is known as excluded volume, or somewhere you will see that it is said to be co-volume, or somewhere it is said to be van der Waals constant for volume. So Vg in case of real gas will be actual volume of the gas, that will be equal to volume of the container minus the volume of the gas. And why we have to subtract the volume of the gas in case of real gases? Because they are made up of rigid spheres and they have a definite volume, an appreciable volume that cannot be neglected. So B is known as excluded volume or co-volume or van der Waals constant for volume. Now let us take this for 1 mole only. So this is for 1 mole. If there are n moles, then what it will be? This is for 1 mole. This is for 1 mole. This is for 1 mole. So this B will be constant. There won't be any change. This, suppose there is only 1 mole or 1 molecule, for an example. I'm talking, that is a vague thing. But suppose if there is 1 molecule, so there will be 1 B, right? 1 B that will show the volume of that molecule. Now suppose there are n number of molecules, n number of moles, then what will be happening? So n into B, right? So V minus NB. V minus NB. Always remember that in PV is equal to nRT, this V is the volume in which the gas can move freely. Now let's find out the unit of B. So we can use the dimensional analysis. So what does the dimensional analysis say? That LHS is equal to RHS. Dimensionally, always LHS will be equal to RHS, and only those terms could be added or subtracted which are dimensionally identical, right? So in that case, NB, we can say that NB is equal to volume. So B will be what? V by N. So V is volume, so इसका unit is liters, and N is number of moles, so इसका unit is moles. So the unit of B is liters per moles. Now let's come to the fact that what is the significance of B? Now why we are focusing so much on B? Now B is directly proportional to the size of molecules. This is pretty clear by now, right? If suppose there is one gas whose molecule size is very big, whose molecule size is suppose 20 Armstrong, right? And there is another gas whose molecule size is 10 Armstrong. So obviously the volume that needs to be subtracted from the total volume of the container will be more in case of a molecule having a 20 Armstrong diameter as compared to a molecule having 10 Armstrong. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me. Understanding, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. So B is directly proportional to the size of molecules. The more the big the size, the more will be the value of C. Now here was a question, compare the B for F2 and Cl2. Now just tell me what is the size of F2, or what is the atomic number which is bigger? I don't think you all will be remembering. Let me check. Okay. And okay, yeah. Let's come. So if you find out, you will see that the atomic number of chlorine is more than the atomic number of fluorine. The atomic number of chlorine is more than the atomic number of fluorine. That means there are 17 atoms in case of one molecule of chlorine, whereas there are 9 atoms only in one atom of fluorine. So obviously with 17 atoms, chlorine will be a bigger molecule. It will have a bigger volume. So in that case, its B will be bigger. Now here I have given a question that compare B for C2H6, CH4 and C3H8. I have given the answer. Can you tell me how? Can you tell me how? Just by looking only you can tell. How this answer, what I have, how yeah,
Carbon
tell.
number. Ma'am, according
Sorry?
to carbon number.
Yes, good. According to carbon as well as hydrogen. So obviously you see there are 6 carbon atoms and eight hydrogen atoms. So it is having 11 atoms. This is again 2 carbon atoms and 6 hydrogen to 8 atoms. And this is 1 carbon atom and 4 hydrogen atoms. So 5 atoms only. So obviously this is a bigger atom. This is a bigger atom, right? So its B will be bigger. Clear? Now, this kind of questions are generally asked in this. There can another, I have not discussed that question. So there can be another question where you can be asked to prove the, or where you can be just given a one-word question that tell which is the bigger B. However, you will find that both would be isomers. Both would be isomers. One would be a single chain isomer, straight chain, and another will be branched isomer. So in that case, always remember that the straight chains are bigger molecules and the branched ones are smaller molecules. If suppose if you are given two materials or two chemicals whose atomic number is same, whose number of atoms is same, now in that case how to find out? So always look that which is a straight chain and which is a branched chain. If it is a branched chain, so that is a smaller molecule and its B will be smaller. Okay. So there is another formula of B that is given by 4 into Na into volume of one of the molecule, where Na is the Avogadro number, right? So now B, since it is a gas molecule is a rigid sphere, so in case of B we can write 4 by 3 pi r cube, 4 by 3 pi r cube. So again you see that B is directly proportional to R, that means radius, and that means again that B is directly proportional to size. Okay, clear? Now let's see that why we require a pressure correction. And then we have to find out what is constant A. So you remember in kinetic theory of gases, we have derived that formula. PV is equal to 1 by 3 Mn U RMS whole square. Remember something like that we have found out. So there what we have assumed that there were point masses. There were one atom was moving with a speed u, and then it struck the wall, and then the momentum with a momentum mu, and after striking the wall, it again comes back with a momentum minus mu. There were a lot of other atoms, but since there was no force of attraction, so they were not causing any change. They were not causing any change on the momentum. So this atom point mass which was striking, that produced some pressure. What was pressure? Force per unit area. So from where you got force? The momentum, rate of change of momentum with time gives you force, right? Newton's law. So this momentum, this atom which was striking this wall of the container, it carried a momentum with it, and then time rate change of momentum gave you force, and force per unit area gave you the pressure, right? And here we had assumed that there is no force of attraction. There is no force of attraction between these point masses. So there was no change in momentum. It struck the wall with mu, and it came back, it retracted back with minus mu, right? So only there was change in sign. So in the case of ideal gas, the pressure which was taken in the equation was the pressure that was only created on the walls of the container due to this movement of the point masses, right? This movement of the point masses. However, if we suppose we take a real gas scenario, so it is made up of rigid molecules, big molecules, right? Suppose there is suppose we divide all the molecules in two categories. One is A-type molecule. A-type molecule is that molecule that is moving towards the wall, and rest all are B-type molecules. Okay, let us divide for our sake of understanding and saying. So all are rigid gas, rigid molecules, rigid spheres. So for the sake of convenience, let us divide the molecule which are going to strike the wall as A molecule and all other molecules as B molecule. Now this A molecule that is moving is again moving towards the wall of the container with some velocity, just as it was this point mass was moving. So let's assume that it is moving with a velocity v. Now here the catch is that in case of real gases, we assume that there is a force of attraction. We assume that there is force of attraction. So in what does that mean? That means that there will be a force of attraction between this A molecule and this B molecule, between this A molecule and this B molecule, between this A molecule and this B molecule. Understanding what I am saying? Guys? Everyone asleep or what?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought everyone slept. Okay. So actually this is more theory only. So I'm trying to use some numericals to help you understanding. So that is what I'm saying. So this A molecule is moving with a velocity v, but simultaneously it is also experiencing a force of attraction with other molecules. Now what does this happen? So there is a movement here. This is moving. So it is creating a force just as it was creating here. It will create a pressure on the walls just as it created here. So there is a pressure here. Now due to this force of attraction between different molecules, there will be a pressure that is created inside also. Right? Suppose it is moving with a velocity v, and so it will have a momentum mv. Right? But due to this force of attraction, a part of momentum will be lost here itself. Like it cannot go entirely with mv to the wall. Some part of it will be lost here because these molecules are pulling it towards themselves. These molecules are pulling this molecule towards itself. So it has to give some momentum in order to overcome this pull. Or let us say that due to this force of attraction, there is some pressure. Why? Because pressure is force per unit area. So let the pressure on the inside be P internal. P internal. So actually in the equation for PV nRT, this P is total pressure. That can be only external pressure or a sum of both external and internal pressure. So in this case, the pressure that is created here is not the total pressure, but the pressure is the sum of the external pressure which is created here plus the internal pressure. Clear? In the case of real gas, this is a pressure on the wall, just as there was a pressure in case of ideal gas. But in case of real gas, since the molecules are rigid spheres and they experience force of attraction between themselves, as a result of which an internal pressure is also created. So in case of real gas, the total pressure is the pressure, that is the external pressure plus the internal pressure. Clear this much?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now as I told that, okay. So now this molecule is, I told that all the molecules which move towards the wall are A molecules, while all other molecules are B molecules, B type. Now at some instant of time, this molecule will be also moving towards wall. So at that moment, this molecule will become A type, and then this molecule will exert a force of attraction. So this will become B type, right? So all the molecules can be either A type and B type. Now, how to find out the concentration of A type molecules? So let us assume that there are n number of moles of molecules. So concentration of A type molecules will be n by V. Similarly, all the molecules can be B type also. So concentration of B type molecules will be also n by V. Now, P gas was P plus P internal. So P, it is the external pressure. Okay. So now what will be P internal? So P internal can be proportional. It will be depending directly upon the number of A molecules or A molecules and B molecules and the concentration of A molecules and the concentration of B molecules. Obviously, if there is more A molecules, this will be more. If there is more B molecules, this will be more. If the concentration is more, this will be more, right? So the P internal will be directly proportional to A type and B type and also their respective concentrations. So remove the proportionality sign, a constant comes A, and then what? N into N square and V into V square. Clear? So A is known as van der Waals constant for pressure, and or A is known as pressure correction. So now you understood that why the pressure correction is added, why the pressure correction is added and volume correction is subtracted. This is the pressure correction, and this is due to the internal pressure. This is due to the internal pressure. Now similarly, let us find out what is the unit of A. Let us find out what is the unit of A. So similarly again, as per dimensional analysis, LHS should be equal to RHS. LHS should be equal to RHS, right? And after that, we can also say that only those terms can be added or subtracted. Only those terms can be added and subtracted which are dimensionally same. So we can equate P is equal to ANS square by V square. So the unit of P took it as ATM, atmospheres, and then N is number of moles, right? And V is volume, so liter square. So we can say A is equal to atom liter square per mole square. You can check also if I am saying dimensionally correct or not. You put the unit of pressure here, you put this unit here, and then you check that I am saying dimensionally correct or not. Put the dimensions of all the units here, the dimension of pressure, dimension of A, dimension of N square, dimension of V square, and if LHS is equal to RHS, then it is dimensionally correct. You all have studied dimensions, right? Dimensions you all must have studied in first semester, right? Nobody is telling. Let me check.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I suddenly start feeling that all of you have slept.
Yes.
Okay, don't
No.
sleep. Okay. So now, what is the significance of A? Significance of A is that it is directly proportional to the force of attraction amongst the molecules, because that is how only, right, the internal pressure came. It was only because the molecules of the real gases are rigid molecules and they have a force of attraction, so that internal pressure got created and we got a pressure correction term. So A is directly proportional to force of attraction amongst molecules. That means more is the intermolecular force, more will be the value of A. Also the force between molecules that's why also known as van der Waals forces. Remember, also due to that only the intermolecular forces are known as van der Waals force, right? Now there was a question, I have given the answer here, and that give the A, which is whose value of A will be more, SO2 or CH4. So SO2 is a polar molecule. Polar molecule, you understand, there will be a polarity, slightly positive and slightly negative. And this is a non-polar molecule. So in any case, the A for polar molecule is always greater than non-polar molecule. One thing. Now there's again a question that compare A for fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Now suppose you don't know, then just remember that iodine is solid, bromine is liquid, and fluorine is gas. Okay, so obviously it's solid. Why does things become solid? When, remember, what is the basic definition? What is the basic definition of solids? We know that the intermolecular force of attraction is very high in case of solid. Remember, that is the basic definition and difference between solid, liquid, and gases. That we say that in case of solid, the intermolecular force of attraction is very high. That means that in case of solid, A is very high. That means in case of solid, A is very high. So in that case, I2 will be having a greater A, and then Br2 is liquid amongst all these two. So obviously its intermolecular force is more than the gas, and so its A will be more. And we have seen earlier that chlorine is a bigger molecule than F2, so it will have a greater A. So from here we can also say that A is also proportional to the molar mass. A is also proportional to the molar mass, right? Now there is another question. This I wanted to show that suppose there are these four molecules and their atomic mass is given. There is atomic numbers are given, right? This much, this much. So according to this concept where I'm saying that more the molar mass, more will be A. So CO2 should have been more, right? Then O2, then N2 and NH3, then O2, then N2, NH3. So, but this is wrong. This is wrong. Why? Because here you focus at ammonia. Here we have hydrogen. So hydrogen has a very strong bonding. Hydrogen bonding is although short range, but it is a very strong force. And what is A? A depends upon intermolecular forces. So obviously in this case, the equation will be like this. The strength of A will be like this. That means NH3 will have the highest A, and then CO2, since it is having there is no H bond here. In CO2, O2 and N2, there is no H bond. So now again, the value of atomic number will come into play. So we can also say that more is the value of A. That means more is the intermolecular force of attraction, and that means that it will be easier for the gas to liquefy. So liquefaction we will do in the next class when we'll be studying critical constants. So just remember those materials which have a high A, they have a high intermolecular force of attraction, and those gases only can be liquefied very easily. Which have very high A, they can be only liquefied very easily. That means they can be compressed. Very easily. Now this is for your notes, that hydrogen and helium are very small. They are very, very small. They are light molecules. That's why you remember the compressibility diagram, Z versus P. So for them, Z is always more than 1. So for them, the van der Waals forces is weak and the A is 0. So van der Waals force gets affected with the size. So now you got why we are adding the pressure correction and why we are subtracting the volume correction. Now there are, shall I continue or shall I leave? There is 2 more pages, 2 to 3 pages. So what do you want? Shall I continue? It will take 10 to 15 minutes.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this will. What?
Maths class, ma'am. Maths class.
That's why I asked. That's why I had asked before only. Okay. So this I will do in the tomorrow class. So till here, now we understood how we got the pressure correction and how we got the volume correction and why we add the pressure correction and why we subtract the volume correction. We also understood that this volume correction is directly proportional to the size of the molecule and the pressure correction is directly proportional to the intermolecular force of attraction or the molar and the molar mass. Also we found out that when A is more, intermolecular force of attraction is more, and so those gases can be liquefied very easily. Okay, so you all have any questions in the portion till which we studied?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and one more thing, these A and B's are very small quantities. They are not very big quantities. Okay, so I am telling you this because next tomorrow we will do this. So, okay, so next we will have critical, okay, a lot of things are remaining. Okay, okay, for now, then I'll stop. I won't continue. So let's meet tomorrow morning. We have a 9:15 class, right? So, acha, one more thing. Do you have a class in second period tomorrow? You don't remember? Okay, I'll check. No issues. I won't take that class. I'm just asking. Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.